Today's subcommittee hearing will review the proposed replacements of the Clean Air Interstate Rule, affectionately known as CAIR, and the Clean Air Mercury Rule, CAMR, and their economic, environmental, and health impacts. Senators, again, will have 5 minutes for opening statements, and I'll recognize our panel of witnesses. Each witness will have about 5 minutes for his or her opening statement. And following each panel's statements, we'll have one round of questions. Since coming to the U.S. Senate a decade or so ago, I've made it my mission to work with our colleagues to ensure that EPA has the right tools to clean our air. As some of you may know, I've worked diligently across the aisle, even with guys like this guy, on clean air legislation to reduce deadly emissions of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, mercury, and other air toxics in our country. Oftentimes, I've been asked why I'm so passionate about clean air, and let me just start off by giving you a couple of reasons. First of all, I think most of us in the room believe we ought to try to treat other people the way we want to be treated. And as many of you know, air pollution knows no state boundaries. As governor of my state in the 1990s, I quickly realized that one state could do everything in its power to reduce its own air pollution, but could still find itself with dirty air because of bad neighbors. And many of you have heard me say that Delaware is at the end of America's tailpipe. It's not just Delaware, it's Maryland, it's New Jersey, it's Virginia, it's Pennsylvania, other states to the north of us. But at the end of America's tailpipe, in fact, our Secretary of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, who's here today, Colin O'Mara, has said that up to 90% of Delaware's pollution, at least air pollution, comes from other states. As governor, I think I could have just about shut down every source of pollution in our state, and Delaware would have still been in non-attainment. Think about that. We pretty much have shut down our state, and we still would have been in non-attainment. And I quickly learned that, and Christy Whitman, my neighbor in New Jersey, was mindful of the same thing and equally unhappy about being in that situation. But she and I quickly learned that our neighbors' dirty air meant higher health care costs for our own states. My neighbors' dirty air meant difficulty in attracting businesses to our state of Delaware. And my neighbors' dirty air meant that we were paying the full price for their dirty energy. And that's when I realized that if we had to have a national solution to address our air quality problems. States can't do it alone, couldn't do it then, and can't do it now. We're all in this together. We've got to work together, and we need to work with the EPA to continue cleaning up our air. Second, I believe it's critical for us to achieve better health care results in America for less money. In fact, it's across the board. We need to achieve better results in just about everything, including health care, for less money, too. But over the 1990 to 2020 time period, the EPA estimates that our country will see over $12 trillion of health and economic benefits in the form of longer lives, healthier kids, and greater workforce productivity from the implementation of the Clean Air Act. Clean Air Act benefits outweigh its cost by some 30 to 1. Not a bad bang for our buck. And although we've made great strides in reducing our nation's air pollution, more must be done if we want to protect our children and compete in the emerging global clean energy economy. Today, we discuss two new clean air regulations, the Clean Air Transport Rule and the Utility Air Toxics Rule. And these regulations target our largest emitters of many known toxics that cause cancer, brain defects, and respiratory stress, fossil fuel power plants. And we've got a chart over here that this is a busy chart, and I think it shows that in the U.S. That our power plants emit, among other things. I'm almost tempted to take out my reading glasses so I could read this stuff, but organics. In fact, I am going to take out my glasses to read this stuff. And a true sign of bipartisanship, Senator Brasso. These aren't any good. But I thought
I've done surgery with these glasses.
That's what I've heard. No. All right, here we go. From power plants, U.S. power plants. Emissions, 60% of the arsenic, 60% of the SO2, 13% of the nitrogen oxide, 30% of the nickel, 20% of the chromium, 50% of the mercury, and over 50% of many acid gases. It's a good chart if you can read it. But these toxic pollutants thank you, John. These toxic pollutants know no state boundary, and they send thousands of our children to the hospital every day and contribute to shorter lifespans for thousands every year. Just one of these rules, the air toxics regulation, we could see from it some $13 in benefits for every dollar that we spend in compliance. And again, getting greater healthcare results for less money. And that's being demonstrated by a chart held by, is that by one of our, no, I was going to say one of our interns, but our interns are sitting over here, making him Robin do all the work. But this is a pretty good chart. You can actually read this. But we're looking at the billions of dollars in 2010. For the cost of implementation, it looks like about $11 billion. The payoff looks like about $146 billion. That's a pretty good return. And as we'll hear today, thanks very much. As we'll hear today, these regulations are long overdue, addressing pollution that should have been cleaned up years ago, maybe even decades ago. We'll also hear today that we have the technology to meet these new standards, and many states like Delaware have successfully implemented similar measures. I look forward to hearing our testimony today on these important issues and regulations. We look forward to working with the administration and with our colleagues, Democrat and Republican, to ensure that we have even cleaner air going forward.